For every possibility, there is a different dimension. There's a dimension where you rolled a 4 instead of a 6 in that dice game last week. There's a dimension where your hair is red instead of blonde. There's a dimension where you're blind. There's even a dimension where you live in Australia. A dimension where your dad's a firefighter instead of an orthodontist, and so on. There's also a dimension where Leonardo DiCaprio has actually won an Oscar. Although, apparently he finally won one in my home dimension. Took him long enough. Anyway, infinite possibilities. Infinite dimensions. So if there are infinite amount of dimensions, that means there's a dimension where my sister, Lainey, isn't dead. There's a dimension where she's alive and well, and I'm determined to find it. I've been through 5 dimensions already. None of them have shown any results. None of them have my Lainey. The first dimension I traveled to, I landed in the middle of a huge field with no one for miles. I wandered around for hours before finally leaving. My throat still aches slightly from calling for Lainey for hours on end and a lack of water. The second dimension I found myself in, I was in the middle of a lunch therapy session. This lady kept asking me about my feelings and crap like that. I left pretty quickly. The third dimension I landed in was a neat little town with lots of houses and shops. And Lainey was alive. I'd opened my eyes to find myself sitting at my computer in email waiting for her. It was so amazing to hear from my little sister again. Except she was in France studying art, and I was in Ottawa studying Renaissance literature. My heart sank. Lainey was alive, but I had no way to get to her. It's not like I could book a plane ticket on such short notice, and besides, dimension travelers can't stay in dimensions that aren't their own for very long. I wouldn't have gotten to her in time. I'd decided to raid the pantry and was extremely disappointed to find only a couple of jars of peaches. Apparently, me in that dimension needed to go shopping. Badly. The peaches also made me feel extremely homesick. Peaches had always been Lainey's favorite food, and even though she was still alive here, I couldn't see her in person, and it broke my heart. The fourth dimension I found myself in, I was in a boat. A boat that I nearly fell out of. My mother laughed and caught my wrist as I lurched forward and pulled me back into the boat. "Sit down, Carla, you'll fall and wreck that lovely dress of yours." I sat, folding my skirts around me neatly, and glanced at the others in the boat. 2 girls, twins I think, sat in the back of the rowboat. I stared. I couldn't help it. I was basically looking at 2 Lainies. The one on the left waved her hand in front of my face. "You all right, Carla?" I shook myself. Sorry, I'm fine, I trailed off when I realized I didn't know her name. The girl rolled her eyes and tossed her red curls over her shoulder. "I think our dear sister has forgotten how to tell us apart, Lara." Lara snickered. "It's possible, Camille. You know, you're awfully lucky you got my good looks." Camille swatted at Lara. "Please, I was born first." Lara swatted her back. "I was born first. No, Mother sighed. "Girls." "Sorry," they chorused. I faced the front again as we floated slowly down the river. Lara and Camille were bickering quietly when I left the dimension. I couldn't take seeing double Lainies and neither of them being her. The fifth dimension I landed in was freezing. I shivered and wrapped a long fur coat tight around my body. The land was covered in ice and snow. My fingers, which were already starting to hurt from the cold, were red. I shivered again and trudged through the snow. A small bird, a magpie I think, landed on a fence next to me. I looked around again. I had no idea where I was, and all I could see in any direction was snow and snow-covered trees. I opened my eyes to see home. At first, I think I've accidentally traveled home, but then Pa comes running around the side of the house. He smiles at me. "There you are. Lainey's been looking for you. She's round back in the garden." My heart leaps. Lainey? My Lainey? Or at least a Lainey that I can actually see and talk to, unlike some of the other dimensions? I hurry around the back of the house. I freeze. There she is. "Lainey!" I call. She looks up from her knitting in her lap. She's sitting by some trees in the shade in her favorite afternoon dress. I dash towards her and trip on a rock, crashing to the ground and tearing my dress. But I don't care. I grab Lainey and hug her tightly. She laughs. "You've ruined your dress, Carla, but it's nice to see you so enthusiastic to see me for once." I laugh and realize I'm crying. I hug her tighter. I love you, Lainey, okay? I didn't get to tell you that before my throat closes up. But Lainey is here, in front of me, and she's alive. I can't stay here forever, but I'm going to make the most of this while I can. Who knows when I'll be able to get back to this dimension again.